What's up, y'all? It's your boy Ace. This is Fantasize Football. We are back again, bringing y'all some more fantasy football content for the 2021 fantasy football season. And we are here yet again, bringing y'all some individual player analysis for fantasy football in 2021. And yes, y'all see it right there behind me. We got our first piece of football decor for this here fantasy football arena that we got. We got our boy over there. Now we got this jersey back here. Nice signed Allen Robinson jersey. You can't really see it over there, but I swear to God, the 2 is signed. Right in the middle of the 2, it is. I promise you that it is signed. But why did we do this, man? We did it to celebrate. And what are we celebrating? We are celebrating breaking the goal, man. We got 100 subscribers on YouTube way before the fantasy football season, and that's thanks to each and every one of you. So this intro is going to be a little longer than normal. I really honestly can't tell y'all how much I appreciate this. When I started this channel, I had some doubts. There's been a lot of things I've wanted to do throughout my life. I'm not going to talk about that here, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to follow this kind of dream or whatever. And I set that goal for 100 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the fantasy football season. I thought it was achievable, but relatively lofty. But we blew that out of the water. We did it in like 3 months. I appreciate it so much. All y'all that have been showing support week in and week out. Honest to God, it really means the world to me. It was last Sunday. I went out. I went into a party on Saturday. Came home Sunday. I was just chilling, kind of relaxing, and it happened. And I just had this big old grin on my face the rest of the day. So thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. If you're new, thank you for coming by, spending some time with the young boy. It really honestly means the world to me. If you do enjoy this video at any point, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Help me reach my new goal of 200 subscribers on the channel by the end of the fantasy football season. The likes, the comments, this new subscribers, it really helps the algorithm so the channel can grow, get seen by more people. I really appreciate all the help. Help take Fantasize Football to the moon, baby boy and baby girls. I appreciate y'all so very much. But yes, we are talking about one player in particular today, and I'll give y'all one guess, right? You got a guess back there, big dog? That's right. It's Allen Robinson, baby. It's a personal favorite player of mine. If you know me personally, you know how much I love A-Rob. If you don't know me personally, Allen Robinson is one of my favorite wide receivers, one of the guys I think is the most underrated in the league, and I think he could be in for a career year here in 2021. But let's get into it and tell y'all why I feel that way, right? Like I mentioned, I think this could be a career year for Allen Robinson. He's the focal point of this Bears offense. He has been a target hog over the past 2 seasons. Over 150 targets each of the past 2 seasons. On top of that, Robinson is playing for a contract this season. He was franchise tagged by the Bears. Whether he gets a contract extension from the Bears or he goes to a different team, regardless, he's going to want to bust his gut, work very hard, as he always does, to put up some big figures so he can in turn get some big figures. He can secure that bag and get paid because he is only 28 now, but he is getting closer to 30. This will probably be the last chance for a big contract for Allen Robinson as long as he does sign a relatively longer term deal. Robinson's played with subpar quarterbacks his entire career, unfortunately. You got Mitch Trubisky, Nick Foles, Blake Bortles. It's just been abysmal for him, but that brings me to my next point in that I think that this season, Allen Robinson could be playing with the best quarterbacks. Best 2. Emphasis on the S, on the quarterbacks. Because I think Dalton and especially Fields should be better than Mitch Trubisky, Nick Foles, Blake Bortles, and any of the other jabronis that he's played with throughout his career. And if that's the case, and the Bears offense potential can kind of be unlocked a little bit, they're moving the ball downfield more frequently, more efficiently, they're in more scoring opportunities, of course, that will be very good for Allen Robinson. Now, let's take a look at what Allen Robinson has done over the past 2 seasons. In 2019, with the Bears, he had 154 targets, 98 catches, 1,147 yards, and 7 touchdowns, a 63.6% catch rate at 7.4 yards per target. And then last season, 2020, he had 151 targets, 102 catches, 1,250 yards on the nose, and 6 touchdowns. We did see a bump in terms of efficiency last season for Allen Robinson, a 67.5% catch rate at 8.3 yards per target. Now, quickly, I do want to touch on Trubisky and Foles and what they did in terms of touchdown rate over the past couple seasons. It will come into play later on, right? So Trubisky has been at a 4.35% touchdown rate, and Foles has been at a god-awful, fucking terrible 3.2% touchdown rate. If you average that out, that is going to be 3.75% in terms of touchdown rate. Now, I do think that Dalton and especially Fields could be very good for this offense in terms of scoring opportunities. And if there are more scoring opportunities, if they can build upon that touchdown rate and be better, that is obviously very good for Allen Robinson. Now, I have the Chicago Bears projected for 614 pass attempts this season. Allen Robinson over the past couple years has averaged a 25.5% target share. 2019, he had a 26.5% target share. 2020, 24.5%. You even that out right there. That's 25.5%, baby. Very easy math there for each and every one of y'all out there. So he averages a 25.5% target share. Let's just use that on 614 attempts. That is going to be 157 targets. Now, over the past 2 years, he's averaged a 65.6% catch rate and 7.9 yards per target. But like we mentioned, we did see improvements in terms of efficiency from Robinson last year from 19 to 20 in terms of his efficiency, in terms of his catch rate, and his yards per target. So I do think it's within the range of outcomes that we do see more improvement with improved quarterback play, another year in this offense. Between Dalton and Fields, you have other weapons now with Darnell Mooney coming into his second year, Cole Kmet, David Montgomery coming off a career year, and Tariq Cohen also back and healthy. So let's just assume that Robinson hops up to a 69% catch rate. Nice. And 8.5 yards per target. Minuscule differences from last season. Just over 1% increase in terms of catch rate, and just over, and 0.2 more yards per target from last year, where he was at 8.3. If you take those 157 targets, you give him a 69% catch rate. That is going to be 108 catches. And then you use that same 157 targets at 8.5 yards per target. That is 1,335 yards. Now, in terms of touchdowns, Robinson scored 13 touchdowns on 305 targets in the past 2 seasons. 4.2% of his targets get converted into a touchdown. Now let's grab those facts that we threw back here earlier, bring them back on the table about Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles. They average a 3.75% combined touchdown rate between the two. If Dalton and Fields, the combination of the two, they're saying it's Dalton to start, but I assume Fields will take over unless Dalton kind of lights the world on fire, which would be great. If they can be closer to a 4.5% touchdown rate, more towards the league average at 4.5%, that is going to be a 20% increase in terms of touchdown rate. If we see the same improvement for Allen Robinson, right? He goes from a 4.2% touchdown rate, give him a 20% increase, that is going to be 5%. If you take that 5% on 157 targets, that is 8 touchdowns. So you put all that together, right? You got 157 targets, 108 catches, 1,335 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Good for 235.5 half PPR points, or 13.9 points per game, which would have been tied for the wide receiver 11 in points per game in half PPR last season. And I think this is a whole lot closer to the floor, if he plays 17 games, of course, for Allen Robinson than it is the ceiling. We've seen it the past couple of years. He's been just right around 100 catches. You have an extra game this season, 1,150, 1,250 yards, 6-7 touchdowns. It's one more touchdown, another 100 yards, and a few more catches. So I absolutely think it's within the range of outcomes, that his efficiency does improve, and that his target share is right around where it's been the past couple of seasons, resulting in these numbers that we just discussed. Now, let's assume that his target share shoots a little closer to what it was in 2019. Again, something that I definitely think is within the range of outcomes, because you have Dalton and you have Fields there. They're going to want to target their top option while they're getting comfortable in the system. He's going to be open, and even when he's not open, when they need to get rid of the ball, they're going to be going to their most trusted target so they can get rid of it and get it to someone that even if he is contested, they know that he can get the ball, right? So if Allen Robinson's target share shoots back up closer to 2019, we'll give him 27%, right? That is going to be 166 targets. And we'll use those same efficiency metrics, a 69 catch rate on 166 target is 115 catches. 8.5 yards per target is 1,411 yards. And if you just give him one more touchdown, 9 touchdowns, right? Smack that shit together. You take the Allen Robinson Play-Doh, you take the Justin Fields Play-Doh, you take the Chicago Bears Play-Doh, and you mold together a godlike figure that is Allen Robinson. This is what you come out with. 166 targets, 115 catches, 1,411 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Good for 252.6 half PPR points, or 14.9 points per game. Good for the wide receiver 6 in half PPR points per game last season. 14.9 points per game. Now, what does all this mean? We always like to, kind of ask, what does this all mean? It means that Allen Robinson is going to provide you with a relatively safe floor, especially where he's being drafted around the wide receiver 10 to wide receiver 14, depending where you look on the format, this and that. But now with Fields, right? More so Fields than Dalton. But even if Dalton's a step up, those touchdowns kind of start going up, you have some upside there for Allen Robinson, whereas he's kind of been more of a floor guy. You know what you're going to get. He's not very boom busty. He's not going to necessarily win you a lot of weeks because he's not going to get those 40-point games, but you know what you're going to get. He's going to get you double-digit points more often than not. He's not really going to bust for you, but now he does have that upside with a safe floor, and if he can get the 10 touchdowns and be 120 catches, which I don't think is outside of the range of outcomes, 1,400 yards, all of a sudden he's a top 5 wide receiver. And especially in full PPR, you should absolutely be targeting Allen Robinson this year in fantasy football drafts. Even in half PPR, I think he's great. So that's what I think. I do think it's within the range of outcomes that Allen Robinson has a career year. We see a bump in terms of touchdowns, a bump in terms of efficiency, and a bump in terms of target share. And if all those things happen, the ceiling is very, very high with a relatively safe floor. So that's why I'm going to be targeting Allen Robinson in fantasy football drafts in 2021, and I suggest you do the same. But that's it. That's all there is. That's the end of the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think of Allen Robinson, guys that you're going to be targeting, guys that you're going to be avoiding, any videos you'd like to see in the future, good things like that, and just talk to me, y'all. I want to get to know y'all a little better, build this community. Just drop some comments, leave some likes. It also happens to help the algorithm, which is very nice. And if you did enjoy the video, like I mentioned, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Help me reach my new goal, the new goal of 200 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the fantasy football season. If you're listening to the podcast, make sure to drop a 5-star review, the best review you can wherever you're listening to Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever. Hop on over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on YouTube, hop on over to Apple, Google, whatever, and leave me a review if you don't mind. I would really appreciate it. That's it. I am done. I will catch y'all next time. Me and my boy, we are out for today. I will catch you next time, like I just said. And as always, thank you, love you, peace.